Hello, hello, hello. Come on in, everybody. Come on in and join us tonight. We haven't
Hello.
been on together alone, man, in since ever. So we're super excited. So why don't you come on in and if you don't mind, could share with somebody right now? How are you, ma'am?
I am good. I am good. A little tired, but good. How about you, Bishop?
I am a lot tired, but good, good. So it's
That's
good to
good.
see you.
You as well.
Good to see you. I am excited about seeing you. So hey,
Hey,
uh, we are the Gunses. That's who we
we
are.
are.
We
We
are
are.
we are the Gunses, and so we are super excited about the opportunity to to share our own unique message. And
Right.
so everybody, jump in, hurry up, come on, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up.
Good evening,
Uh,
everybody. I see you logging on. Good
yeah, come on,
evening. Good
come
evening.
on,
Good
come
evening.
on, come on. We're not gonna be long, so come on, jump on in, and share with us tonight. Um, it is really awesome to be able to spend this time with you. And
It is.
so, Pastor G, what have you been up to? What's going on? What's going on in your world?
In my world, I think I've been doing a lot of what you've been doing, which is adjusting, um, and managing a shift in
Okay.
our life, a positive shift, but it just takes some effort. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, it is. It is interesting, isn't it?
It is.
It is. It's
It
very
is.
interesting, and I think we are, and so that's what we want to talk about tonight. We want to talk
Hmm.
about managing shifts, and
Absolutely.
so I'm just inviting some people who we can consistently know will be a part of this. So,
Hmm.
um, how do you think we've done in terms of this?
Honestly, I think we've done very well. I do think that we had, well, let's tell everybody what the shift is first. How about that? Because
Okay.
some people may be wondering, what are they talking about? Um, our shift has been you, our bishop, being employed now in Richmond, Virginia, as well
Employed.
as employed, as
Mm.
well as being the senior pastor of St. Paul here in Jacksonville. And the fact that your job requires that you're there during the week, Monday through Friday, and you are home in Jacksonville on the weekends. So that's been our shift, trying to adjust to your dual residency and just maintaining our life. I think we've done very well. That was your first question. I think we've done very well. I think we do have an advantage because you have always been um, traveled with ministry. So that's something that's been from the giddy up, So I think that made it a little bit easier to adjust, but it's still a little bit different. So
Yeah.
I think overall we've done a pretty good job. What do you think?
No, I agree with you. I think we've done an amazing job. And I think a part of what we wanted to do tonight was to kind of talk about what happens when God shifts your marriage
Hmm.
or shifts your relationship by one or both of you kind of entering into a different phase. So
Hmm.
we're glad to see everybody up here. I'm a wave at Jeffrey Dennis. Thank you, sir. Um, because it's interesting. You and I have kind of had this from the day we got married. We knew that God had a kind of a different journey for us,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And listen, everybody, I want to encourage you to invite, like really quickly, because it's only 30 minutes now, and so we're going to be up here 24 minutes, and then we're both
Mm-hmm.
going to have our good night prayer, and then we both going to bed in separate beds in separate cities, right? But it was interesting. God has really been very faithful to us by giving us some experiences, but also by giving us the courage to trust the shifts that have occurred. And so this last one, well, hopefully it is the last big shift, you know, but this last one has really been really deep because nothing has been released, but
Mm-hmm.
something has been gained or
Right.
assumed,
Got it.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't walk away from St. Paul the church. I didn't walk away
Right.
from Operation Save Our Sons. I didn't
Right.
I didn't walk away from any of that. I simply embraced this assignment with you, and
Mm-hmm.
here we are both living it out. How does it feel Mondays when you wake up and I'm gone?
Um, Strange. However, I think in my mind, I simply tell myself, you're on assignment, you're traveling. So
Mm,
it keeps it from being uncomfortable or unbearable. Um, I knew that you were called to the nations before we got married. So I knew that you weren't the typical pastor, that you wouldn't be in location at all times. So it makes it easier to know, to deal with you with, I guess, the absence of you being here, physically.
you know, you said something very important, and I want to share this, and I want those of you who will to put it in the thread. Shifts are easier to handle when you have a vision of your partner.
Mm,
You
that's true.
know, it's like it's like if if you don't have a clear vision for your
Hmm.
spouse or for your partner, then what's going to happen is you're going to struggle when they walk into authenticity. So
Absolutely.
it's almost as if you recognize something on my life
Hmm.
as I've recognized something on your life, and and that vision that you had makes it easier to handle when that vision is clarified.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's
Hmm.
like neither one of us knew I would be the dean of the School of Theology at Virginia University,
Right.
right? We didn't even
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
never envisioned this. This
Hmm.
journey did, and the question is, if if you thought that was possible, would you have still married me? You think you would still
Yeah.
marry me?
Yeah. Yeah. I would have. And actually, that's funny because we didn't know about the dean position, but I knew you wanted to be in academia. So I had an idea. You did the adjunct
Hmm.
positions where you would
Yeah,
come. Was that like the weekly? When you would spend a week in Virginia. So I mean, I was like, I knew it was something was coming in that area. I just didn't know it would be
I
that.
didn't either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it took some adjusting, but I knew it was the will of God. I think that makes a big difference too.
it does.
Knowing that something is the will of God, then as Christians, you don't knock against it.
That's good. That's really good. And it is interesting. It goes back to the fact that in many relationships, we're so unclear about who God has created our spouse to be
Hmm.
until we're caught off guard laying next to this person in the bed.
Yeah.
It's like it's like our, and I'll say this, Bay, and this is something that you've not been. You've not been selfish when it comes to who God has called me to be.
Okay.
And it's funny now as God is opening some doors for you and shaping and shifting you, I am understanding how important it is to give you the space to do what you need to do and what you feel called to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because there can't, so one of the first things we want to suggest, and Ray, you can put this up, is that if you're going to manage shifts, you got to openly communicate the challenges that the shift will create.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta you gotta you don't curse the shift, but you don't deny what the shift is going to require.
Right.
Because you do know I love you, right?
Mm-hmm. I
Like a
do.
lot, and
Mm-hmm.
I like being with you. Like,
Right. Of
yeah,
course you do.
no, but I'm there are times people don't like being together. I like being with you. So the biggest challenge is that I'm not with you,
Right. Right.
right? Like, a few days a week, I'm not with you,
Right.
and you're not with me. That's why, the first few times we were driving back and forth, and I'll never forget that time I thought you would go ride with me. And your response was,
Uh-uh. I can't do it. But that was a part of our open communication.
your
I
response
think
was,
I think the fact that we're honest with the
yeah,
challenges and we directly address them
yeah,
and we talk about them openly. Okay, this is how I feel about this. And I'm a solutions driven person, so
yeah.
I don't like to sit there long talking about the issues, but I want to go move to the solution. How do we make this easier? How do we work this out? How do we figure this out? That type of thing. So open honesty has been key for us.
And it's interesting, and this isn't one of the seven, but the other thing that makes shifts manageable in relationships is when both partners take ownership of what is necessary for the shift to work.
Yeah.
So when you were coming here, I saw how you labored and invested to get this apartment, which is very comfortable. The apartment is very comfortable. It's really nice, but the work you put in, and
Hmm.
so if your spouse is going through shifts in terms of the call of God upon their life, in terms of career or whatever, and you're working against the shift,
Hmm.
then you're going to put them in a position where if they're a really good person, they're going to feel guilty
Yeah.
for, and there have been times when, and my wife will tell you, with some of the demand of our relationship, there have been times when I have felt guilty for what this anointing sometimes
Hmm.
cost her.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it isn't a man thing or a woman thing, because in every marriage, God may be doing something with one person that the other has to make the adjustment. God may be doing something with the other person, or there may
Right.
be a season where God's doing it with both.
It's called partnership.
It's called partnership.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You can't successfully do this alone. I mean, without the support of your spouse, without their involvement, um, I guess you could do it, but it would be so much harder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And there are people who do it alone, but doing it alone isn't fun. You know,
Right.
it's
Right.
demanding, and I'm not suggesting that you can't. You can, but
Right.
this
But it's
segment's coming in.
selfish. It's
Yeah,
selfish. It's
yeah,
selfish. It
yeah.
is.
It is. It is. So the second thing we want to put out there in managing shifts is devoting quality time to prayer.
Mm.
You devote quality time to prayer. This is, I mean, babe, this is one of your strengths. You know, but we're very consistent here.
Yeah, we are. We realized, I mean, and it's not that we just realized it, but we realized the importance of keeping on track through prayer
Yeah,
and discerning um, the next move of God and what His desire is for us um, individually and as a couple. And
yes.
there's no way to figure that out if you're not praying.
Wow.
There's just
Yeah.
no way.
And it's,
Um,
go ahead, babe. No, that's really good. Keep talking.
no, it's just been times where God has spoken to us individually, and then we come back together.
Yeah.
And what that does is shows us that we're in His will and we're on one accord. And I think you don't figure that out unless you're having your independent time with God in prayer.
Yeah. And it's interesting. The other thing that having a prayer life as a couple does is that it it causes you to protect each other,
Yeah.
because the physical distance um doesn't allow me to protect her as I would if I was physically there. Same with her. But our prayer life gives us the ability to cover each other.
Mhm.
So when I'm, in meetings, or when she's writing, we're, sometimes we feel the need to protect each other, and it's amazing. Okay, we got 12 minutes. Number 3, frequent emotional check-ins.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah. And it goes beyond a how are you doing? You know,
Yep.
it's a okay, where are you? It's what are you dealing with? How can I
Right.
help you? Even though
Yeah.
it's probably nothing I can do when it comes to VUU. However, just seeing where you are, allowing that time for venting, allowing that time
Mhm.
to just know that, hey, I love you. I'm supporting you. I got you.
Yeah. And
I can't help
believe
you with
me,
that report, but I got you.
you sure can't help me with that report, but I wish you could. But but it's even interesting in that there've been a couple of emails that I wanted to make sure sounded just right. So I sent it
Yeah,
to you,
yeah,
right? To just kind of put your eyes on it, because my writing style,
right,
and you can correct me without taking my voice.
right, right.
You know, and so it becomes important that, and even if you're in the same city, but because you could be in the same city and be going in different directions.
Absolutely.
And so the importance of frequent emotional check-ins means that you are aware of your spouse wherever they are, in whatever stage they're in, and
Mhm.
you're watching over them, by making sure that they know that you're vested in that. Number 4, do positive, unnecessary things. That sounds a little crazy, but I guess I could have framed
Explain
it.
that. Explain
Uh,
that for us. Explain that one
okay,
for us.
okay, here it is. Um, a few weeks ago, I don't know how many weeks ago, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, um, I sent my wife flowers
You did.
just to say thank you.
Hmm.
Now, that wasn't necessary for her, but but by doing it, I communicated to her, or I communicated to you,
Hmm.
that one, I'm grateful for the sacrifices you make. Two, I
Right.
understand the necessity of doing those positive things, that even though they may seem unnecessary, like, you don't have to do this. But I mean,
Gotcha.
it's things that you've done for me that you don't have to do, but you
Hmm.
do. And I mean, perfect example was, I used to pay all the bills very poorly, and I did, and, and when the shift occurred, you took on the weight of the bills. Now, some people may say, well, that part, no, it was a brilliant move. It was a necessary move, but it wasn't something that she necessarily had to do. But in order for the shift to be more effective, she shifted weight from me.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why is that important, babe? Why do you think that kind of thing is important? And we can remove the word unnecessary.
Just the word positive. I mean,
Yeah.
anything that you deem positive in your relationship, you should be able to do. That was a positive move. Basically, I realized you were in a new arena with new responsibilities, new assignments, and if there's anything I can take off your plate, then why not?
Yeah.
So, so that was just I recognized something as being that would affect you positively. So that's what we did.
And you want to know what's funny is you have been patient with me when I've been quiet about the bills because of habit.
Right, right.
Right? Just because of habit. It's like it's habit
Yeah.
for me to pay bills.
Yeah, you're used to handling them. And so now it's kind of like your hands are off, but you feel like you still need to, have some type of, you know,
Right.
at least be knowledgeable. And I understand that. It makes
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
makes sense.
And it's interesting. You have to be willing to help your spouse help the shift,
Hmm.
right? By
Yeah,
sometimes being patient with your spouse when the roles change
yeah,
and not get offended because your spouse is trying to manage something that has changed in the context of the relationship. Number 5, date intentionally.
mm, very important.
Yes.
We have 2 to 3 days a week. It
Yeah.
depends on, when you're coming in. So we've intentionally set aside one of those nights is always ours. Yes, we have daughters in the house. We have two daughters in the house. Um, well, one daughter in the house, one is
Right.
part-time.
Right.
But, even though we do family things at times, we have specifically set aside one night for us, and that's important
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that, we our time is limited. So, and
Yeah.
it's not, we don't budge on that. And I think,
No, I'm laughing because Deja just put in the thread part time.
did she? I didn't see it. But yeah,
Yeah,
she's part-time daughter. No, she's part-time. I meant part-time in the house, child. Um,
she's permanent part time.
right. Um,
That's hilarious.
but I mean, I think that's important, especially when you're managing time, you
Yeah,
know, to date intentionally
yeah.
and let
Hey,
that just be something that is a non-negotiable. I think
mm,
every couple needs that.
right. But it's also interesting when you're managing time, but you're also managing increased responsibility
Mm,
because with certain shifts come increased responsibility.
yeah,
Now you have to oversee something that you wasn't initially overseeing,
right.
and sometimes in your process you become frustrated with what you're having to manage as your transition, and then you end up not allowing your spouse to get your best time and attention because you're
Hmm.
consumed. Because it's nothing for me to get emails from the
Hmm.
moment I walk in the house to the moment I
Yeah,
get on the plane,
right.
or have to submit reports. And sometimes the report is on the weekend, and
Hmm.
and because I'm new, I'm learning the nomenclature and the processes, and
Yeah.
sometimes I don't handle it the best, and I'm trying to figure out, the players, and my
Mhm.
wife is in her own reality working on her book that's going to come out and it's going to be a bestseller. Y'all need to all get it. And still managing my travel because I still have travel and
You do.
still managing certain aspects of our life. I mean,
Mhm.
full time Taylor, Janae, full time,
Yeah. Full
right?
time.
Little to no help from me, no help during the week, right?
Mhm.
And so the shift has put a different demand on you.
Yeah.
And so when we get time together, it is our time to give each other the freedom to relax from the demands that have come with the shift.
Yeah.
Everybody put in the thread, because we're almost done. Everybody put in the thread two very important words: safe space. Your spouse has to be
Okay.
your safe space.
Yeah. You were thinking safe space, and I was thinking, I went the way back. I was thinking Oasis.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Or
Need to
let's go
be
to but let's go to our other word: submarine.
submarine. Okay.
Remember,
Yeah. Yep. We
very early on, we caught ourselves creating Wednesday as submarine and
submarine day.
submarine day, and that meant what, Bay?
That we were getting in our submarine and we were going. Submarines go under,
Right,
right?
right,
So
right. We were
that
submerging.
meant we were that meant we were away from the world. We were untouchable, unreachable.
Yeah,
Just the two
yeah.
of us together. So that was our submarine day.
That was our submarine day, and it's important that you create submerging moments as
Hmm.
partners, as couples, as spouses, so that people can't always find you when you submerge.
Right.
And it doesn't always mean you leave your house.
Mm-mm.
Sometimes you just leave your devices.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
So
That's
number
good.
six. Oh wow, 2 minutes. Number six.
Hmm.
This one hit me, Bay, as I was talking to you earlier today.
Okay.
Give grace by being grace.
Mm,
We have to be grace for each other. And
right.
and there are times when you have to give grace by being grace. I mean, my
Hmm.
wife knows I'm in a totally different world now. I'm in a different world. I mean, and there
Hmm.
are just things that I may drop the ball on. There are things that I may not remember. I may come home and literally want to sleep, you know, a half a day, which I never do.
Right.
But you have to create a relationship where you give grace by
Yeah.
being grace.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's important. And I think the way you do that is by knowing your spouse's heart.
Wow. Yes. Yes,
You know,
babe.
it's if you know who you married, it's easier to not hold things against them
Hmm.
when you know their heart. You know, you take into account what they're dealing with, what their week looks like, any situations that may have occurred. And it should be easy for you to extend grace when you know their heart, especially their heart for you.
That's really good. And so it's really about knowing your spouse's heart, which leads us to our last point
Hmm.
tonight, which is mutually acknowledge your partner's effort.
Hmm.
And my wife knows I'm a words of affirmation guy. And
Hmm.
so there are times when she will send me a text, or we're on the phone, and she'll say, you know what, I know you're really trying, and I know you're trying to do this. Whenever I'm home, um, Sunday night, I always go fill up the tank.
Hmm.
I always go fill up the tank, right?
Yeah.
I try to remember to put gas in the car because she don't like pumping gas, right?
Right.
She has
And
to
that, right, but
sometimes.
that small gesture means so much because that's an effort that you're making at at eliminating the chance that I'll have to do it myself.
Yeah,
So that means a lot. So you spouses out there, think of something your spouse does not necessarily like to do and take that
right.
off their plate.
Take it off their plate. Take it
Yeah.
off their plate. That's really good. Listen, y'all. Thank y'all for watching tonight. This has been Nightcap with the Gunses tonight,
Yeah.
and we love you guys. Know that Pastor G and I are in the most amazing place as a couple.
We
Um,
are.
I'll say this to everybody. This weekend, we had a conversation about something. I want to get into the details, but the conversation was so healthy, and it was a tough conversation.
Yeah.
And I've grown to understand that healthy marriages can have tough conversations and not be weakened by them.
Right.
If you can't have a tough conversation as a couple without an argument, and it's funny, we don't even raise our voice to each other now. Like,
Right.
like I can't remember the last time we had a full blown stupid argument where we didn't talk for 3 days.
Right.
It's been so
Maturity.
long, huh?
It's called maturity.
Yeah, that's the
We're
other thing.
maturing.
Yeah, we are maturing.
Yeah.
We are
As a
maturing
couple.
as a couple. Yeah,
Mhm.
and man, but wow, that's really good. It does you no good to mature as an individual if your spouse doesn't walk it out with you, and
Right.
we walked it out together. So,
Yeah.
thank you all for watching tonight. I miss you.
I miss you too.
No, I do. I miss you. Seeing you is always so amazing to me. And it's
Well,
just
tomorrow's Thursday, so then it's just one
tomorrow's
more day.
Thursday.
One more
Right.
day.
One more day. One more day. Everybody who's a part of St. Paul family, we have movie night Friday. And
Yes.
I'm definitely coming home for that. And then we got Park and Praise on Sunday at 9.
Yep.
And of course, football starts tomorrow. Cowboys. Woo! Cowboys
Woo!
tomorrow. I'll be watching it. I'll be watching it somewhere with somebody. I got to. My assistant Dean is a Tampa Bay fan.
Oh
Paul is a
wow.
Tampa Bay fan. We're playing Tampa.
Okay.
So tomorrow, he and I are wearing our Cowboy and Tampa Bay jerseys. And I'm gonna go in the office just to wear my jersey, and then I'm gonna come
Okay.
home.
Okay.
I,
Well, we love y'all so
we
very
do love you.
much.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all for jumping on. I don't want to start naming people, but I love y'all, love y'all, love y'all. Mwah, 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 mwah.
That is her signature, y'all. That's her signature. Thank you all. Keep praying for us. Our
Yes,
marriage is in such an amazing place. So
it
keep
is.
praying for us, and join us again next week. Not us, but us Nightcap next week
Mhm.
as Sharice and Akeem will be back on. Thank you, Pastor Ray, the best
Thank
streaming
you.
producer in America. Thank you
Yes.
guys. Be blessed, everybody. Join me tomorrow for Recharge,
Yes.
Thursday Recharge. And I promise you, it's going to be 30
7 o'clock.
minutes because the game comes on. So we gonna hit it hard. All right. Be blessed, everybody. Take
Love you.
care. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.